Okay, I am not talking about netting to make fishing nets, although I'm pretty sure the same technique can be used as well. But instead, think Victorian little lacy mittens or nightcaps, purses, all those cute little netted goods that I've always wanted to try my hand at making, but it's a skill that I just haven't learned. Now I have this stack of Weldon's Practical Needlework, which is a treasure trove of information, and this one, which is volume number 2, it includes the instructions for how to get started. So I'm going to challenge myself today. Can I learn how to net using only a Victorian manual? No internet, no Googling, no looking things up, no videos, just this manual. I have been wanting to do this project for years at this point, and it took me a while to find it because I've been through several moves and reorganizations since I got it, but I did pick up this netting kit from Lacis. I have no idea what any of these tools do right now. This is all very new. It looks like I have 3 different sizes of these like plastic things, and then I have, you know, these kind of look like tools that I would use on my knitting machine. What looks like the largest darning needle of all time, and then 2 little double-ended needles. I don't know what any of these do, so let's start by looking at these instructions and seeing what it has to tell us. Okay, so it looks like, based on the necessaries for knitting, I have some terminology for some things. This flat red piece is called a flat mesh. Okay, so I read through the instructions a little bit. They basically just start out saying, and now from your last bit of mesh making. So it doesn't include any of the foundation stitches, and I read a little bit further on and it says, it's nice to buy in the store the foundational mesh to start from. It's like, okay, what if you don't have the option to buy that? So instead I have decided to use my knitting machine cast on rag to see if I can use that as my starting point. And they do say that you want to have it pretty secure to something so that you can pull strong knots. Step 1, we have to load the netting needle. Okay, so I have to try to thread it through. There we go. And now I think the rest of it, we just wind it like we would a bobbin. Our bobbin is now filled, our netting needle is now filled. What do we gotta do? Having your needle and mesh ready, stirrup secured, yes. Take the mesh in the left hand and hold it firmly between the thumb and first finger. Take the needle in the right hand and bring the thread from the knot down in the front of the left hand and then round the back, embracing the third and second fingers. Oh, I'm not even holding I wasn't even holding this guy. Okay, hold on. This has to be, where is this? Here. Oh, this is awkward. Okay, so then we bring it around, back, front, and then we're holding on to it with our thumb. Oh gosh, this is gonna not be easy. Now carry the thread loosely towards the right, over the foundation and behind the mesh and all the fingers. Pass the needle upwards to the loop that encircles the third and second fingers between the mesh and the first finger. Under the stirrup string and lastly over the part of the thread that proceeds backwards onto the needle. What? I'm gonna have to go by the diagram. Okay, the diagram shows like this. Oh, I've lost it. Oh gosh, okay, oh, we got it back, okay. And oh, oops, I already went the wrong way. We gotta go this way, no, yes, this way, and then, oh, and this is over here. What the what? Gradually tighten the thread in the form of a loop under little finger. Okay, loop under little finger. Oh, this requires all of the fingers of my left hand, which is really, wow. Let go first, the loop held in position under the thumb. Okay, I'm letting go of that loop. Whoop! I think I formed the knot, but this is gonna become a problem. I cannot knot into my knitting machine stuff. We need to find a different way. Before I work out another way to get this netting started, I want to talk about the table that I've clamped my work to. Did you notice it in the background? It isn't Victorian technology, but the FlexiSpot E7 Pro standing desk has been a huge backsaver for me while I'm at my knitting machines. I've been using the desk for the past few months as a dedicated workbench and crafting station. It holds 3 knitting machines, extra parts, lots of yarn, and it does not budge. Yeah, it's always kind of this messy, but you know, that's the reality of crafting at a desk. The legs are thick, the frame is steel, automotive grade steel, and it doesn't even wobble when it's at its full height and loaded like it is. One of my favorite things is that I can preset the height height I like for different things that I do on my knitting machines. I like it taller for casting on, but at a lower height for regular machine knitting. I was worried about attaching all of my heavy knitting machines to it, but it's handled them all with ease, which is honestly no surprise as it has a 440-pound capacity. I love using my knitting machines, but before I got this desk, I had to limit my time since I was always in pain from scrunching over to use them. And now I'm not limited by poor posture, just my patience with my sometimes moody machines. For anyone who works long hours, crafts, edits, and needs a desk that can really take the work you put it through, I can recommend the FlexiSpot E7 Pro Standing Desk. I find it to be a very reasonable price for all of the features that are offered and how sturdy it is. Plus, it has a 15-year warranty and a 30-day free return window. Head to the link in my description and use my code YTE7P50 for $50 off of your order. Thank you again so much to FlexiSpot for making videos like this possible, and let's see if I can find another way to get this knitting started. I'm wondering if I can crochet something. Okay, I mean, it's a mess, but I think I created a better foundation thing. I'm gonna start this one more time. Okay, something is very wrong because as I'm attempting to form these mesh stitches, my mesh is not going onto my little mesh doodad. I'll take you up close for but this is a mess. Oh, that one seemed more right. God, this is such a mess. That is nowhere near any kind of knitting. Oh. There's my first netting attempt. Looks more like a knotting attempt. Goodness gracious. Atrocious. Okay, now you're supposed to turn it around and continue in the other direction. Let's see if we can get some improvement the other way around. Oh no. Oh, I think that was just mayhem. Whoops. Oh no. This is a little more overwhelming than I thought it would be. It's already hard, and not having a good foundation is making it, I feel like, that much harder to do this correctly. So I'm gonna go take a quick pause, regroup, rethink. No internet, promises, no internet, just considering. And I'll come back and see what we can do with this. I've added a little bit extra caffeine. I don't know if that was a good idea or not. And I created this as my foundation strip. I don't know if it's any good, but we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it one more time. Here we go. Under these two, over and pinch. Then what I'm not fully understanding yet is what motions control what. So if I move my pinky finger down, does that tighten up the loop I'm creating, or does that tighten up the knot I'm creating? And how do I control the size of the mesh that I'm generating? So a lot of those minute details aren't particularly clear to me yet. So we're just gonna keep on trying and see what happens. What do you think? It's getting, I mean, it looks a little bit like a drunk spider web, but it's a little closer, I think. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit of practice, and I'll see you when the practice is done and see how far I've gotten. What do you think? So I've been doing a little bit more netting practice, and I think I've improved, and I'm starting to understand how to make consistent netting size and how to use the mesh to make the holes of the netting consistent. I'm ready, I think, to take on a bit more of a challenge, and so I have been looking through the pattern books that I have, all the different issues of Weldon's Practical Needlework that I have that include netting, including the first series, and I think there are some really fun ones that stick out. First of all, it even says to make a net for catching minnows, which I would say is kind of a fishing net. So I could make a fishing net. I don't have anywhere to catch minnows near here though, so I don't think I'm going to be doing that one. Other notable ones include ear covers for horses, which looks really cute, and I'm guessing it's to keep the flies out. Also, what stands out is a netted hammock. I have attempted to make a hammock before, not out of netting. I forget exactly what it was, but it hurt to use. So it might be interesting to try a hammock again, but out of netting, but I don't have the right materials for that. So I kept on looking through, and one that stuck out in particular were some sleeping nets. Now, because I'm only going off of these books, I am finding it hard to figure out what the mesh sizes mean. It just says like, find number 10 and 12 mesh sizes, and my mesh don't have numbers on them, and I'm trying not to look at the packaging because the packaging has picture illustrated instructions, and I'm trying to stick with just the Victorian instructions, so I don't want to look at that. So I'm gonna do my best guess here to make sure that the sizing is right, and we have another little extra complication in that I have been netting. I keep on mixing up knitting and netting. I have to be careful when I speak. I have to enunciate netting a little bit more. I have been netting flat, but the nightcaps or the sleeping nets ask for you to net in the round. The sleeping caps are a little bit more complex because they require shaping and things, so I think I'm just going to go with one of the sleeping nets because that is in the round, but you just make it as big as you want it to be. I'm probably going to try to get started today. I don't know if I'll finish today, so I might have to split it up over some time. And I am also currently nap trapped because Nutella has decided to fall asleep on my lap. And I don't want to disturb her because she is so rested and comfy. Oh, I guess while I'm nap trapped, one other thing that I can say is after looking through all the patterns, I think I have another thought on how to do a foundation mesh. And that came to me from reading through the doily patterns, where the doilies started in some cotton, and it has you net with a darning needle into the cotton to start. So I think I can create that for myself as the foundation by like tying some looped knots into some cotton that I have, and I think that might be a little bit easier for me to start with. What do you think, Nutella? Oh, are you awake now? Oh, we are awake. Hi. Are you comfortable though? I don't know if you can see that very well, but I've just knotted on some loops to the bottom of this. I've knotted on 12 because the foundational stitches of my sleeping cap pattern or sleeping net pattern is 24. So I'm just going to net 2 stitches into each of the ones that I created here. What do we need? According to the pattern, I have 2 that I can choose from. They're right one above the other, but I think I might choose the first one because it asks for bone meshes 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch wide, which is the first bit of sizing that I could find that's based on some sort of physical measurement rather than a number to which there's no conversion chart for me for the number that I could find yet. So this is the smallest mesh that I have, and that's the biggest. I'm gonna measure them and see how off I am from the pattern. Bigger, oh, we're at the thicker one is 3/8 and the smaller one is 1/4. So it's close, not quite, but I think I'm gonna call it close enough. It also wants number 10 cotton, which I think that sizing hasn't changed, but I don't have number 10 cotton. I used to have so much number 10 cotton, and I don't know where it went. Instead, I'm gonna use my number 30, so it'll be a very delicate mesh, which I don't mind. Let me set up somewhere comfortable where I can loop my little foundational chain around, and I can show you how my netting has progressed, and also we can try to figure out how to do netting in the round and joining it in the round. I now have a starting chain of 22 stitches. I'm supposed to do 24, but I messed something up and I don't really know what, but that's okay. I think it's all right. So now what we're supposed to do is tie in a circle, and then you work 2 rounds plain with a 1/4 inch mesh. So I take this off. Let's see what chaos I created. Oh, here's my lovely chaos. I mean, it's not too bad. And you're supposed to tie it in a circle. I don't know how. I think I finally managed to tie it into a circle, and now we're basically going to be netting in the round, around like this. It wants me to use the 1/4 inch mesh now, so that's the smaller mesh, and do 2 rounds plain. Attempting to net with that cloth was not fun, so I attempted to run the string through the stitches and it just turned into a tangled mess, so I tore that out. It really wasn't working, and instead I decided to just net straight into a loop of this blue thread and knit all of my 24 initial netted loops into that, which kind of matches up with the illustrations now that I look back at the instructions, but I didn't really realize it at the time because all of it was so new to me and I couldn't really understand everything I was looking at the beginning. But honestly, it finally worked, and I finally found a way to get started netting in the round. And after an entire day of practicing, I don't know how many restarts, and spending the evening netting, this is the progress I have made on my sleeping hairnet. I really like how it looks. I think it's really, really cute. One thing that you might be able to see a little bit here is that unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know, a lot of Nutella's hair also got trapped in with this. So whenever I wear this hairnet, Nutella will always be with me. But I was using my leg a little bit to support my netting, and my pants are always covered with her fur because she tends to lay on my lap. So because of that, a little bit of her fur is incorporated into this hairnet. So something happened yesterday, which I found that happened too when I was learning how to tat from a Victorian manual, and that's that I spent all day really, really struggling with a new technique. Like, it just felt so alien to me and to my hands. And then there was one point where it just clicked a little bit better. I walked away from it for a little while and I came back, and it's just running smoother. And I feel like, I mean, it's not perfect, but I'm creating something that actually looks close to what I'm hoping to create. So it's this really exciting moment of, oh my gosh, am I actually doing it? Because it did take me the entirety of the day of just really not getting it. Which, I mean, totally reasonable, but also semi-frustrating, especially if you're used to doing crafts that just come easily to you and as muscle memory. It's hard to sometimes step back into like the fully brand new learning position. So it feels really satisfying to get to the point where it's feeling a lot more second nature. I am currently at my incredibly messy desk. I am in the middle of reorganizing my entire apartment, so I'm not even going to show you what's around me right now because it's stress-inducing, but I want to sit down and I want to work on this project a little bit more. I'm a little tired from all the reorganizing, so I want to work on this netting. I need to find a way, because I'm watching some Time Team on TV, I want to find a way that I can anchor it while I'm sitting on my couch and I can get some netting done. So let me see if I can, maybe like the foot tensioning method, or my sewing machine is on my coffee table right now, which it's not supposed to be there, but I might use it as my anchoring point for now. So let me set up, and again, apologies for any absolute chaos you might see in the background. That's what it is right now until I have my place reorganized, but hopefully once it's reorganized, it'll be a lot easier to keep neat and tidy. Okay, so I have done 4 rounds of knitting after increasing 3 with a 1/2 inch, which is actually 3/8 inch for me, mesh. Now I'm going to go through with the 3/8 or 1/2 inch kind of mesh and do 2 per each. And then after you do that increase, that's the last increase you do, you then net for however many rounds until it fits the size that you want with a 1/4 inch mesh. So I guess it's another round of increases, and then we just keep going until it's big enough. Whatever I deem big enough. There's no size given, so I'll just continue to hold it up to my head and see what size it is. As I sat back down to knit, I was like, ooh, I'm getting a little hungry, I'm a little dehydrated, I'm a little unfocused, like, I'll just do the increase round and then I'll go get myself something to eat and drink. And I am 4 knits, loops, stitches, I don't know, in, and I forgot to do increases. And I guess it's a positive and a negative in knitting is that once you form a stitch, it doesn't undo itself, like it doesn't unravel like a knitting, but it also means that in order to undo the stitch, you've got to undo very tightly tied knots. Or I guess I could just like cut them, but then I have to do a join, which I really don't want to do. Here's what I'll do. This is what I've done in the past when I've had situations like this, is I'm going to do my best to undo it back to the point where it's undone, the mistakes I've made are undone, and then I'm gonna go eat and drink something so that my blood sugar level isn't so low and I can focus a little bit better. Whew, okay, thank goodness I was able to undo what I had done. I kind of figured out what bit of the knot I could pull at first and it would come undone after the second one, and then it turns out that I didn't need to undo all the knots because of course the first one could stay, I just needed to have an extra loop in the loop primer. So that was not as bad as I thought. I think my blood sugar level is restored a little bit, which helps, and I am making some progress on my increases. So I guess I will skip ahead now to when I have determined that we are at a good enough size, and we'll do the finishing bits together because I have no idea how to do that. We'll see if we can figure it out. Good morning. I will admit that I stayed up far too late last night to finish this lovely knitted piece, but it is, oh my gosh, you can barely see it, I feel like. It is so thin and light, but I love it, and I finished it. I would love to do maybe like one more row, but I am just out of thread on my netting needle, and I don't feel like doing another join, so I'm gonna stop it at this point. And the pattern just says to join once you are done. I don't really know what that means. My last thing that I have to do and I have to consider is this center rope slash string thread. I think thread is probably the right term, that I used is thicker and blue, and that was my foundation thread. I should have used white of the same, but I was afraid when I was starting this that I wouldn't remember what was the foundation thread and what wasn't. So I'm going to go ahead and thread up some of this onto a needle and replace that, but that'll be part of the finishing steps. What I do want to discuss a little bit is that the instructions now say to run an elastic through the last row of stitches in order to be able to wear this on your head and not have it slip off. I have either white elastic or I have clear elastic. So that's what white elastic would look like. And that's clear elastic. And it doesn't get picked up as much on camera, but the clear almost has a shine to it, and it's quite rubbery. So I don't like the shine, but I do like the rubberiness because I feel like that will hold on my hair better without pulling. I was going to go with a white, but now that I felt the potential anti-slip properties of this one, I might have to go with this one. So I guess I'm just going to take some time to feed it all the way through. Okay, I have threaded it all the way through. Now I'm going to measure it against my head to see how tightly to tie this. I don't want it so tight that it gives me a headache if I want to wear it, but I also don't want it so loose that it'll fall off. So this is obviously not the finished look for a sleeping cap. I should have done more rows too, but that's okay. The nice thing with netting is that you can always add to it. I'm also wearing a daytime tea dress. There's ends that need to be woven in. So why don't I show you what kind of the finished look for a Victorian sleeping net is supposed to look like. Okay, so this is maybe a touch too short to be a sleeping cap, and it's also like it feels delicate. I don't know if it is delicate, just it feels delicate, and I don't know that I necessarily want to sleep on it, especially after how much work I put into it. So I want to wear it instead, and I feel like it might work better instead as a 1940s snood. So let me wear it like that instead and show you what that looks like. And now as a snood. I am pleasantly surprised by how, I wouldn't call it easy, but there was just a moment, it seems like it happened to me with tatting too. There was just a moment where it seems like clarity came through and something just clicked for me, and the netting started to really make sense. Although I know that not everyone learns this way, so it is a very, very helpful thing nowadays to have multiple ways to learn things and to have multiple ways available that people can pick up and be taught new skills, which I think is absolutely great because not everyone learns in the same way. There are so many other netting patterns that I would love to try out. Like I said in the past, I love snoods, and this one really needs to be a touch bigger for it to be very useful even as a snood. It's just on the slightly small side, but the good thing is I can pick it up at any point and continue netting. Thank you so much for joining me. I really enjoyed getting to learn some new fiber crafts and yarn techniques. That was really, really fun, and I finally got to use a kit that I bought over 3 years ago now. If you like watching videos like this, I will put another one here that I think that you might enjoy, and hopefully I'll see you maybe there, maybe next time. Bye. Thank you again to FlexiSpot for sponsoring today's video. To get the ergonomic chair with flexible adjustment for your back or the E7 Plus standing desk with 4-leg design, use my promo code YTE7P50 for $50 off.